My girlfriend said, "My ex needs a place. He's moving in with us." I just nodded and said, "Okay." Then I packed her bags, changed the locks, and texted her ex their new address, my curb. Suddenly, my phone was blowing up with her furious calls. I'm 32 years old, and even now I still feel a knot in my stomach when I think about it. Last night, I was trying out a new pasta recipe. I was already a bit stressed because I'm not exactly skilled in the kitchen. My girlfriend, Stephanie, 29, walked in, phone pressed to her ear, giggling about something. She hung up, smiled at me, and casually said, "Hey," while grabbing an olive from the counter. Justin's having a nightmare with his new lease. It totally fell through. Anyway, I told him he could crash here for a bit, just a few weeks, maybe a month or two, until he sorts something out. Justin, her ex, the one she was with for 3 years, whose name still popped up in my mind too often, made me freeze. My brain stalled like a buffering video, spinning endlessly. I stopped stirring the sauce for at least 30 seconds. The only sound in the kitchen was garlic simmering. The word, "okay," escaped my lips, sounding distant even to me. I was trying to stay calm, but I probably looked stunned, like a fish out of water. Stephanie clapped her hands excitedly. "Oh, amazing. I knew you'd be cool about it. You're the best, Brandon." She said Justin was thinking of coming over tomorrow afternoon. She kissed me on the cheek and went take a shower, humming to herself. I felt like the biggest fool. My hands were shaking slightly, and my heart was pounding. This wasn't a conversation. It was an order. I stood there, pasta forgotten, trying to process what had just happened. How could this be okay? My first instinct was to yell, to follow her, to demand an explanation, but then a colder, clearer thought sliced through the panic. This wasn't up for debate. It was a huge red flag turning into a full-blown alarm. Once I heard the shower running, I acted, not like some action hero, but like someone trying to fuse a bomb before it exploded. My breath was shallow as I grabbed suitcases from the top of the wardrobe. They were heavier than I remembered. I started stuffing her things in, not caring much about neatness. Clothes got crumpled. I almost packed my own blue sweater before catching myself. I hesitated over her expensive face wash, but then just tossed it in. Am I overreacting? I wondered, but picturing Justin lounging on my sofa in my space pushed me forward. It took nearly 3 hours, not 2. My back ached. I found things I didn't even know she had. I ended up with 3 suitcases, 2 overloaded tote bags, and a miscellaneous pile of shoes. I definitely didn't get everything. Some things were mixed in with mine, and in my frazzled state, I knew I couldn't sort everything perfectly. I just grabbed the obvious stuff. I called 3 locksmiths before finding one who could come out within a couple of hours on a weeknight. The search and pricing hit my budget harder than I liked. When he arrived, he gave me a skeptical look. "You the primary resident mate?" he asked. I showed him my lease agreement on my phone and my ID. He grunted and got to work. It felt like forever. Her luggage sat by the door. I didn't want to text Justin right away. My hands were still shaking. How did I even have his number? Then I remembered Stephanie had used my phone ages ago to call him when hers died. His number was probably still buried in my contacts. After a few minutes of scrolling and guessing, I found it under just an X. Her input, not mine. I dragged the bags out to the curb, feeling exposed, like all my neighbors were watching. I snapped a blurry photo and sent it to him. "Stephanie's apparently moving in with you. Her things are on my curb. Address attached. She seems to think you'll be thrilled." My heart was pounding. This was it. I went back inside, locked a new deadbolt, and sank onto the couch. The adrenaline finally hit me hard. Not long after, my phone started screaming with notifications, voicemails filled with angry shouting, missed calls, furious texts. "Brandon, WTF is this? My bags are on the street. Are you deranged?" Stephanie's messages kept coming, demanding I pick up. Justin was freaking out too. No, I wasn't the deranged one. I took a deep, ragged breath. This was going to be a long night, but I didn't regret not wanting her ex as a surprise roommate. Update. About 18 hours later, I look like I've been in a fight with badgers. Barely slept. The phone hasn't stopped ringing or buzzing. Leaving her things on the curb didn't go well. Stephanie showed up around 1:30 a.m., banging and kicking at the door. Justin was with her, looking like he wanted to disappear into the floor. He tried to calm her down, but she was a storm of rage. "Brandon, you let me in right now. This is my home, too, you psycho." My voice shook when I spoke through the door, trying to stay firm. "Stephanie, this is my apartment. It's on my lease. You decided Justin was moving in without discussing it. I didn't agree. Your stuff is with him now. Please leave." She shouted back, calling me abusive, controlling, a monster. It stung, even though I knew she was deflecting. After about 20 minutes, Justin managed to drag her away, but not before she threatened to return with the police. I stayed up for another hour, jumpy at every noise, sure she'd come back. Around 3 a.m., my best friend Amanda called. She sounded shocked. "Brandon," Steph just called me hysterical. "She said you threw her out and changed the locks. This isn't like you." I was exhausted, but tried to explain. She told me Justin was moving in. No discussion, just an announcement. I wasn't okay with it. Amanda was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Justin moving in right alongside you? Well, Brandon, that's a crappy move on her part. I get why you're upset, but throwing her out like that was harsh." She didn't fully condemn me, but wasn't totally on my side either. This morning, the text resumed, demanding entry and listing items she urgently needed. Her French press, a basic one I bought her, work laptop charger. I worry she'll say I'm sabotaging her job. Her favorite teapot, and all her important documents. The documents worried me most. I hadn't seen any specific stash, but what if something vital was in a book I packed? I texted back, "Stephanie, I packed what was clearly yours. If you have a detailed list of specific, genuinely essential items you think are still here, send it through Justin. I'll look for them when I have time, and can leave them in the building lobby for him to collect. You are not coming in." The messages got worse, so I blocked her number. The replies turned vile. I called my paralegal friend Dave this morning, not in my panic last night. He was more cautious than I hoped. "Look, man, she's not on the lease, so that's good for you. But self-help evictions can get tricky. Even if it's your place and she pays no formal rent, she's been living there 6 months. Someone vindictive could try to argue she established residency, make a fuss. Did she get mail there? Contribute to bills, even informally? I confirmed she got mail there and occasionally bought groceries. Dave winced, but said it's probably fine, especially since she tried to move someone else in. This situation isn't without risks. It's important to keep a record of everything and save all messages. If she shows up at the police, stay polite, show your lease, and explain that she attempted to move her ex in without your consent. You can also say you're willing to return any essential personal belongings. Honestly, he never made me feel as secure as I hoped, only more stressed. Around midday, Justin sent me a surprisingly polite message. Stephanie was asking for a list of her things. Could I let him know when I might be able to check? There was no apology or acknowledgement of the chaos he had a hand in causing, but at least it wasn't hostile. The sense of entitlement was bad enough, but the small risk of legal trouble was unnerving. I know I didn't pack everything of hers. Some of her books are still on the shelves, mixed in with mine. The place was far from clean. After about 4 days, it felt like a low-grade battle. Stephanie hadn't tried to force entry again, but the pressure was mounting. Her sister Rebecca called, her tone full of disappointment but also steel. She said she was shocked and that Stephanie was beside herself. Apparently, Stephanie claimed I had a breakdown and kicked her out with nothing. She was now at Justin's tiny place, which he wasn't expecting her to actually live in, just temporarily. Rebecca mentioned something about Stephanie's work laptop charger being held hostage. I tried to explain my side, the ex moving in without discussion, and Stephanie's poor handling of it. But Rebecca seemed to be interpreting everything through her sister's point of view. She told me that even if there was a misunderstanding, Stephanie admitted she mishandled things, but my reaction was extreme. Since Stephanie was my girlfriend, withholding things she needed for work was cruel. Rebecca wasn't easily convinced and suggested mediation, which I politely declined. Then the list of items arrived via Justin, and it was ridiculous. It included not only the charger and teapot, but also things like my share good olive oil, the blue vase from the living room, a gift from my aunt, half the spice rack, and some important mail she claimed was missing. I spent an evening carefully going through the apartment. I found some of her mail, mostly junk, but also a couple of bank statements I set aside for her, as well as her chipped teapot and the sentimental throw blanket she had mentioned. I found a few more books, too. No sign of the work laptop charger, but I did find an old universal charger of mine. I packed these into a box and texted Justin to pick it up from the mailroom, clearly listing what was inside and stating that the charger wasn't there. The social media posts started appearing, vague and sad posts from Stephanie about unexpected endings and broken trust, followed by a friend's more pointed comment about some men not being able to handle strong women making decisions. The biggest revelation came from an unexpected source. One of my colleagues, Sarah, who knows Stephanie through some old college connection, awkwardly cornered me by the coffee machine. She said, "Hey, Brandon, weird question, but is everything okay with you and Stephanie?" Because she heard something. Her cousin was friends with Justin's old roommate who just moved out. Apparently, Justin wasn't in a bind at all. The roommate moved out, and Justin was just looking for someone to take over the room to save on rent. He'd been trying to convince Stephanie to move in with him for a while. My jaw nearly dropped. The lease falling through was a complete fabrication. They weren't just planning for Justin to crash there temporarily. They were possibly testing out a new living situation. Or worse. Stephanie was planning to move in with him. It felt like a manipulative setup, not just entitlement. That piece of information changed everything. It hardened my resolve, but also made me feel sick. I screenshotted Sarah's follow-up text, where she confirmed the details after double-checking with her cousin. I haven't shared this widely yet, but did forward it neutrally to Amanda with a simple, "Thought you should know this context." Her reply was just, "Oh my God, seriously." She sounded stunned. Stephanie started trying to get mutual friends to pressure me to let her back in, supposedly just to talk or to collect her remaining essential things. The list of essential items seemed to grow daily. My head was spinning, trying to keep track of what she was accusing me of and what was actually true. The stress was definitely getting to me. My sleep was shot, and I was surviving on coffee. Around 3 weeks later, nearly a month after everything started, the dust was settling, though not neatly. Stephanie's campaign to paint me as a villain took a serious hit once the truth about Justin's apartment situation came out. Amanda confronted her and was furious. Stephanie had lied to everyone about the lease and why she needed to stay. She even tried to twist the story, make it sound like I misunderstood everything. Amanda said she hesitated before believing me fully, but was angry with Stephanie for lying. Rebecca has been harder to convince. I sent her a carefully worded email with the screenshot from Sarah and a photo of the box of items I'd returned, including Stephanie's actual teapot and her mail. When she called back, she was conflicted, less accusatory and more confused. She said Stephanie was her sister and a mess, swearing I was twisting things and Justin was confusing the story, but the evidence was hard to ignore. Rebecca didn't apologize, but stopped demanding I let Stephanie back in. The last I heard from Amanda, Rebecca was trying to get Stephanie into therapy, which felt like a small relief. Legally, nothing ever happened. My paralegal friend Dave's cautious advice made me paranoid for a week, but Stephanie never actually called the police. If she did, they never contacted me. The threat was likely just that, a threat. The demands for a share of household items like olive oil eventually faded into silence after I ignored several emails sent through Justin. I did let Justin come by one more time under supervision to pick up another small box of books and knickknacks that were clearly hers, just to be done with it. It was awkward. He wouldn't even make eye contact. The good teapot that belonged to my mother is still mine. Stephanie sent one last long, rambling email, forwarded by Justin since I still have her blocked, about how I destroyed her faith in relationships, how that teapot symbolized our future, and how I owed her compensation for emotional distress and relocation costs. I deleted it without replying. From what Amanda has reluctantly shared, Stephanie is trying to distance herself from the drama. She and Justin still live together, but it's apparently awful. The lie their arrangement was built on, coupled with the financial strain after their plan to use my place for free failed, has made things very tense. Justin seems unhappy living with an unstable Stephanie, who blames him for half the chaos. You reap what you sow. For me, it's been a process. I'm not completely fine. The first week, I ran on anger and adrenaline. The second week brought exhaustion and sadness. It's a rotten feeling to realize someone you cared about could be so manipulative. I've struggled to focus at work, and my apartment felt strangely empty, not in a good way. I found an old t-shirt of hers under the bed last week and just felt tired. I'm slowly reclaiming my space. I moved the furniture around, and I'm trying to get back into a normal routine. It's not a clean victory. It's messy and left scars. But the alternative, letting her walk all over me and move her ex into my home, was never an option. So this isn't a triumphant movie ending. It's a slow, grinding consequence of their own choices, built on lies. My revenge was simply not participating in their delusion anymore and protecting my sanity, imperfectly as that may be. It's not a happy ending, but it's real, and I'm slowly, very slowly moving forward. Thanks for listening. It really helped to get this off my chest.